Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, and good evening. It's LinkedIn event time again. Wellaby. And for those of you who don't know Wellaby, it is a wonderful platform that brings wonderful coaches together with people who want to talk to wonderful coaches. And one of them is today Shereen Thor, who has been with us for a while. And I'm sure a lot of you know her. And I'm very excited today to welcome Shereen Thor. So, welcome, Shereen, to the Wellaby stage.
Thank you. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm curious, are we going to be able to see people chatting? Are we live? Like, should I just jump in or should I wait?
You can start very soon. I will have a few questions. How are you doing today? People will ask questions as we go. We have hopefully enough time. And yeah, tell us, who is Shereen?
Okay. Well, hello, friends. I am a comedian turned coach. So kind of an interesting story and an interesting journey. I'll tell you all about it today when we really dive in. I've gotten to do some incredible things through my coaching career, like meet this incredible human that we have before us today, who is the founder of Wellaby. I was just recently speaking in the UK about the topic I'm going to speak to you about as well. And I just did my second TEDx talk. So those are a few ridiculous details of how this coaching journey has impacted my life. And I am very excited to share it and really support everyone here in stepping into the fullness of themselves in whatever that looks like personally and professionally. So should be fun.
Great. I think that's what we share when it comes to a mission or vision. Wellaby and you, we want really to bring great content, great programs to the people because I know that with these programs we can help people quite a lot. And what I'm struggling with in this space is we need to destigmatize the coaching in general, right? And I think these sessions, like this session today, I think help people a lot to understand what the real benefit is. So just briefly, what is the title today? And then I will leave the stage for you.
Okay. Today, I will be doing my signature keynote speech called Revolutionary Leader, all about how to lead authentically in a world that's set up for you to follow. And what's lovely about that is, Abdez, you're going to hear all my dirty secrets about how I became a coach, why I became a coach, which I hope will help with destigmatizing. Definitely, it changed my life. My goodness, I would not be where I am today without it. And so I'm very excited to share the journey.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Can't wait to hear all of it. Take it away. It's all.
Okay, let's go. Are you ready? First of all, I just want to thank you for being here. I want to just be 100% clear about intention. I believe intention is incredibly powerful. And my intention with you today is to help you find happiness by breaking out of complacency and compliance so that you can lead your life and career with authenticity and intention. So that's what we're up to. Are we ready? Are we ready to get this party started? So first I want to talk about, what does it mean to be brave? I remember the first time I was ever really brave was when I did stand-up comedy, as you can see in this picture here. It was my first truly glorious act of rebellion in my life. I just remember staring at that stage and the performer who was on before me was up. I was so freaked out. I mean, more fear than I had ever experienced in my entire life. I know our psych nerds out there will know all about the amygdala. My amygdala was literally screaming at me. So unfortunately, the beer I was drinking was like not quite strong enough to take the edge off. And so my brain is screaming. I'm looking at the exit. I'm legitimately considering running out the door because the screaming was, you are about to publicly humiliate yourself. Like, this is actually the stupidest thing you've ever decided to do in your entire life. And you need to leave. Like, we need to save ourselves now. And just as I'm looking at that exit sign, truly considering leaving, they go ahead and announce, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage for her debut as a stand-up comedian, Shereen Thor. And I am like a deer in headlights. And somehow I will my body to stand up. I just put one foot in front of the other and so slowly get on that stage. And so what's funny is I sort of don't even know like what on earth. I probably was a little bit funny, right? Made people laugh a little bit. I definitely rambled off some uncomfortably personal stories that I had not planned on talking about. And really, as soon as it happened, it was just kind of over and I was off the stage. But one thing I want to talk about is that oftentimes we think that bravery is the absence of fear, right? Like we think it's the absence of fear. Someone must be fearless to do these scary things. Look at them. But what it really is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so it's important that we kind of start our talk today or our time together today with the idea of being willing to feel fear and do it anyway in order to be brave in your life, in your career, really in all ways so that you can be your full self. The truth is, I was a different person after I walked off that stage. Like, as you know, from this moment of meeting me, I'm not a stand-up comedian anymore. So it wasn't like it was my career's, my life's path and purpose, right? I was meant to be a coach. I was meant to be a speaker, which is what I'm doing now. But I would never have been able to get on this mic with you today had I not had the bravery in that moment back then to pick up that first mic and face those fears. And so it was like one of those stepping stones. It just was this thing where I knew I could do hard things, right? I could do something scary. I could literally have my brain screaming at me to run out the door and be afraid of public humiliation, but I could still just decide to face that and move forward anyway. And so one thing I want to talk about today that I didn't know I was avoiding at the time is that while comedy at the time seemed very frivolous and sort of silly and like, why am I even doing this? It's not going to make me any money. What I was also doing was avoiding the number one regret of the dying. So there is a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and it is by a woman named Bronnie Ware, who was a hospice nurse. And she would sort of sit on the bedside of people who were having their last hours, their last days, right? And listen. And so she wrote this book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And come to find out, the number one regret of the dying is, I wish I would have had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the one others expected of me. And so what I didn't know when I was doing stand-up comedy was that I was beginning to get on the microphone, right? I was beginning to become my real self, my full self. Back in the day, let's rewind. I am, thumbs up. Oh yeah, let's have AI join this party. Let's just have some fun. So balloons for being brave. So back in the day, I was very much a good and dutiful daughter. I am the daughter of Egyptian immigrants. My mom and dad immigrated from Egypt to America and had me and my sister. And so I don't know what your background is or, you know, what your experience is, but my parents offered this conditional love where I needed to fall in line and I needed to make them proud by becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Those were like my three options: doctor, lawyer, engineer, maybe even a pharmacist. Maybe that was a fourth option. And those were like the approved career paths for Egyptian kids. I personally never really wanted to do those things. I kind of felt in my heart that I probably wanted to do something a little more creative, a little more philosophical. When I went off to college, I would have loved to have majored in philosophy or art, but I knew that my parents would be upset and worried that I would become like a broke, starving artist. And so instead, I just went middle of the road and I